Jimmy Kay here, Metal Voice. Look at this. The Metal Voice shirts are now on sale. Just go to the video description to find out on how you can purchase one. Metal! Hey, Alan. Welcome to the Metal Voice, Alan. Welcome to the Metal Voice.
We're here.
Here we are, Alan.
You know, a few people wanted us to get back to reviewing records. Records, reviewing albums. I said, whatever. But can we call them records anymore?
Well, we gotta wait for the right reviews too.
Anyway,
right?
so now we're in the review mode, and here we go today. We're going to start with our buddies, Steel Panther, Heavy Metal Rules.
Heavy Metal Rules. And I'm gonna pose this question. We're gonna review this album, but at the same time, there's a question here. Can the metal community take this band seriously?
Or do they want to become serious? Okay, look, let's start with this album, okay? Mm-hmm. Heavy Metal Rules, and you did a great interview with Michael Starr, by the way.
Thank you very much.
And Michael, he always strikes me as a guy that's still chasing that David Lee Roth dream. He still wants to be a certifiable rock star. That's why you can have a semi-serious conversation with the guy.
He's a great guy.
And you know what? This album, if it wasn't for the lyrics, it could be the best heavy metal album of the year. I mean, the production, the sound is amazing on it, right? Did you find?
And again, so just a story from the interview. They recorded the album. They finished the recording.
I thought he was joking.
No, this is true. They recorded the album. And then, who was it who drops it?
Lexi drops it.
Lexi drops it. The hard drive is done. But I mean, there's two different versions of the story of what happened. But we could say somebody screwed up. That's all we could say. They had to re-record the album. And then he noticed that he was having some vocal difficulties.
Yes.
He had to go to the doctor. And then he had to re-record his vocals a third time. And I think that is what you're talking about. It's so well put together that you could see a lot of effort was made. The craftsmanship of the songs are great, but
the solos,
it's a great album.
You know, it's always a hat. Going back to their metal school days, it's a tip of the cap to the hair metal glories bands of the '80s. But for me, Jim, I've got a few of their albums. I got Feel the Steel and Balls Out, and I like when it's little innuendo. It's not in your face,
Exactly.
I like it when it's
an AC/DC
like Tiger Woods or Community Property or Do You Really 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 Love Me? I mean, those songs you can listen to the words, and I don't like it when they're in, all I want to do is F myself, or you got that David Lee Roth scream at the beginning, great, and that's too in your face, or something like Critter. It's too much in your face.
Think of AC/DC.
I'm talking the lyrics.
Exactly. Think of AC/DC. Yeah. There's always that sort of double meaning
especially with Bonnie.
And that's where our artistry comes into play. Yeah. Knowing how to twist the words to the point where it's daring, but at the same time you can listen to it over and over again. Now that's the problem with this album, I gotta say. Every single song, almost every single song, it was right in your face, sort of obscene words.
Well, what about right in your face? A lot
right
of
in your face.
The whole chorus for F everybody.
Yeah, everybody, and
but that is the best Eddie Van Halen solo on the whole album on that song.
And again, Alan, you're talking about the musicianship is excellent.
Yeah.
The songs are great. The melodies are incredible. The production is incredible. Everything is stellar. But just as a purist metalhead, I kind of find that the swearing took away. It sort of degraded the song.
I played their albums in the car for a lot of other people, and people just like the beat. Wow, this is like Bon Jovi, or this is like this.
Yeah.
But they're not listening to the words. A lot of people don't listen to the words. I mean, I listened to the first 4 Loudness albums before I realized they were in Japanese. You know what I mean? So if you're not listening to the words, because who is this? This is really good. Yeah. Then you throw them something like Community Property or Weenie Ride, where it's a lot more quiet, and you don't have a choice but to listen to the lyrics. And that's where what's going on here, right?
Yeah.
So again, they're all legitimate. Right? I mean, that's established. It's just, can they make, do they change their direction where they're going and become a legitimate band?
Yeah. And I asked him that question, and he goes, "Well, we are legitimate."
Yeah. I knew that was coming.
Well, would you ever want to be a serious band? But we are serious. And look, they're getting a paycheck out of this. They're doing very well. The fan base is like exploding. And here's this most important thing that he told me. They paid their dues. They paid 20 years, night after night. The way bands used to do
right,
it.
exactly.
They've paid their dues. So in a way, you got to give these guys props because they're there not just from some sort of fluky thing.
No.
They're there because they worked hard and they earned it.
You take a song like "It Won't Suck Itself," which is hilarious. The lyrics are hilarious, by the way, and the production and the guitar solos and the beat and the song. It's as good as anything that was released in the 80s, you know?
Yeah.
Except, they make lyrics that make you laugh. And again, that's what I like. My favorite bands are Bon Scott lyrics, Alice Cooper, all guys that did the hard rock stuff, but with always a little bit of a smile, a wink, and clever lyrics. That's where I like to see more of them and less blatant lyrics.
Yeah.
Sneaky Little Bitch. What about the Dancing Day Led Zeppelin riff going on in there?
Yeah.
Dancing Days are here again.
I mean, I got to say something, and I told him this too. I ain't buying what you're selling.
Yeah.
That is probably the best song in the album because it's a more of a softer piece, and there is a little bit of a twist there.
It's the best ballad since Weenie Ride.
It's a great ballad, and actually, at one point, you're saying these guys are really serious. Of course, there's always those, they get a little harsh.
They get a little.
But they could have made that song their hit radio song. Anyways, all the songs are excellent. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the songs.
The solos, the production.
To me, it's just
vocals.
And again, it's just me personally. I think it's just too in your face. It kind of ruins the song in a way, right? But it's still very strong if you like that type of music.
So there you go. Now, is this something we're going to see more of Steel Panther, or would you like to make the serious attempt at being a real rock and roll band? And when I say that, I know everybody says they're rock and roll. They are. They play their instruments. They're live. They're hilarious live. It's like going to see four stand-up comedians.
Yeah.
And but lyrically is what we're leaving to. If you take off some of this, because this stuff will never get played on radio.
Yeah,
it barely gets played on YouTube.
Look, I met Michael Starr. I met Michael Starr. He's a really nice guy, and you could see the whole band, even though they're kidding around, hard workers, and they deserve every single thing that they're getting. So, hats off to them. Definitely, if you like this type of music, you'll love this.
It's funny. Back when we started the show, Airborne. Everybody's talking about Airborne.
Yeah.
Oh, they're out there. They're doing it, and they're playing everywhere. And who talks about Airborne now?
Yeah.
And they got a new album coming out. I don't want to take anything away from them, but the hype is no longer. Meanwhile, Steel Panther, going back to metal school days, they're just getting
bigger and
bigger, and they've just kept because they've been out there pounding the pavement, making the albums. And Andrew Dice Clay was pretty popular in his day, and they're carrying on that torch.
Yeah.
And there's a whole other debate now of how can they still get away with this with the Me Too movement.
Look, I personally think that they're riding a wave of anti-politically correct right now. Like there's just so much politically correct stuff happening. Yeah. This happens throughout time. I mean, if you go back in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, there's always been a wave of I wouldn't call it anti-established, but I'd call it anti-political correct. And now we're just going through that same sort of period, and that's what it is.
But again, they were
but it is hard work. It is hard work.
I'm not taking
it away with it.
Guys, these guys are great musicians, and they write great songs. They were just saying lyrically, because they can fill a gap.
Yeah,
they can fill a gap, right? Nobody's doing these types of songs anymore.
Where's the Scorpions? Where's AC/DC? You shook me all night long.
Whatever.
Where's
they can fill a void like Airborne. Airborne hit before the last AC/DC albums came out, and they were just perfect timing, and people were dying to hear that Aussie pub rock. Okay,
there you go.
And now these guys can fill a void for people our age.
Yeah.
And especially the women who I love the hair metal. And they could fill that void quite easily.
And half of them are women too. Like in the audience, they played Heavy Montreal. It's like everybody loved them. Yeah. Anyways, there you have it. Steel Panther. Go pick it up. Definitely, if you love
potentially their most serious album musically,
whatever that means.
So, but maybe you don't want it to be. So.
But tell us, do you think this band should be taken serious as a heavy metal purist, or it's all in good fun and
sit back and enjoy the ride.
That's right. All right. Helloween Alive in Madrid.
Yeah.
So this is a show that you didn't go to that I went to because there's just timing issues.
Don't make it sound. Yeah, I was on a plane.
You're on a plane. I mean, you can't be.
This was the show. It's the most anticipated show all year that I wanted to see. Unfortunately,
I can't really. This is what I got to tell everybody. So I've heard it. I haven't seen it, but I saw the concert, so I don't even have to see the video. I know what it's like. Stellar, Andy Darius, Michael Kiske singing duets, singing their hits, we'll call them, of their era. The band backing them up for almost 3 hours. There's no opening act. This is probably the best thing, and I know we've talked about this before. Like the Michael Schenker Fest, this is the Helloween Fest. Incredible. Alive, I've heard the whole album. The quality's very, very good, and you just, as you're playing this album, you feel like you were there. You're back at that concert. And I don't know, it's a great album. It's a great live album. I mean, we can't say much about a live album because it's the songs that we know, right?
I like
definitely worth the money.
I think they did a good job in the song selection. I mean, how do you satisfy your fans? When you've been around for almost 40 years. It's been a long time. So they had to put the Darius tunes in there. They had to put the Kiske tunes. They even had a Kai Hansen medley in there.
Yep.
So I think they did a good job. There's some choices on there that you wouldn't think would be your first choices, but like Perfect Gentleman.
Yeah.
But there's some surprises on there. I think they did very well in the song selection. You had to put I Want Out and Future.
And they went crazy. The crowd goes
Future
nuts.
World
When Michael Kiske's coming out, it's everyone's just losing it. They're just losing it.
And this is in Madrid. He lets the crowd sing. The crowd knows every word.
Kai Hansen's medley. Did you just mention that?
Yeah.
Kai Hansen's medley.
Yeah,
sorry.
Was there any gamma ray in there?
There was no gamma ray, but it was a medley of the first album, right?
Oh, okay. So
just
he
quick
sang?
little. He sang. Yeah. I Can, Tale That Wasn't Right, Forever and One, Perfect Gentleman, and he's coming out with a top hat. Bottom line is, sounds great. It's nice to get a quality version of these songs because they were recorded a long time ago, right? So it just feels right. And by having there's little nuances, like there little change ups here and there, and that's what makes it exciting. So pick that up too.
Yeah, I mean, Helloween, one of our favorite bands.
Definitely.
And so here's another stellar recording. And they haven't historically done too many live albums. So they had one with Kiske.
Yeah.
I think it was called I Want Out even.
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know.
Something like that.
Anyways, yeah, so...
Hell on Wheels. I want Hell on Wheels to be re-released.
Here we go. Here's
hold on one sec. And I just want to do a shout out.
Shout out.
Oh, see that? See what I did there? It's a shout out to Exmortus. Have you heard of Exmortus? They're like a death metal speed thrash death metal band. They just came out with an EP called Legions of the Undead. They are supporting Death Angel, one of my favorite thrash albums.
Yes, you love them.
And they're coming right through North America, so I just wanted to give them a shout out. They got 2 new songs, plus they're re-recording some covers. October 25th, Legions of the Undead. Exmortus, am I pronouncing that right?
Yeah,
Exmortus EP. So they're supporting Death Angel, and I just want to give them a quick shout out.
There we go. You wanted record reviews, we gave them to you. Hope you all enjoyed them, and hope it helps you with your next purchase with your hard-earned dollars.
Metal Voice.